Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Laid Back Life podcast, where we talk about how to love life, entrepreneurship, and improve daily. Joining me today, Victoria Emmott. Victoria is the founder and creative director of Brew Digitally, a boutique concierge marketing agency serving lawyers and professional service providers. She specializes in crafting elevated brand identities through custom website design, strategic digital marketing, SEO, and high-end content creation. Her mission is simple: to deliver premium, all-inclusive marketing solutions that allow professionals to grow with clarity, credibility, and confidence. And we're going to talk about building that credible brand, that modern, profitable brand. Super excited to have you with us today.
Great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So here's where I want to start. What is a brand?
Um, a brand is how it's the best way to put it. It's like your reputation. So your brand, you want a lot of people to see, um, and it creates like a brand creates an emotional connection with people. So kind of like when you see McDonald's or Starbucks, you automatically think of, your name on your cup kind of thing. So it just gives
Incorrectly spelled.
that people, yeah, incorrectly spelled always, but it gives you that like almost nostalgia, warm and fuzzy feeling that it's just distinct. It's like your name basically for your name or your reputation for your business is your brand.
Well,
So
and especially I think for, lawyers and other professional service providers, like a brand becomes that much more important because like every lawyer has access to the same uh case law, to the same motions, to all this. So like the difference becomes kind of our word, our brand, our reputation.
reputation, yeah, and that's what sets everyone apart. It's the same with any professional, um, any professional uh, service or anything like that. We all have, a lot of us have the same information. Some of us have the same techniques and stuff that we do. But what sets you apart is what comes down to it is you or your team. And that's kind of where the brand comes in of that's where people can connect with because people no longer buy things or hire people just because they necessarily do good work. They want that emotional connection where they know that they're going to be taken care of.
So when you're sitting down with one of your clients to talk about their brand, how does that conversation start?
Um, Kind of what they want to portray. Do they want to portray, um, you know, luxury? Do they want to, is it for the masses? It just kind of depends on what they want. So I'm really good at dissecting what they want and what they want to portray and then putting it on paper. Because a lot of people, and some people don't know what that is, but typically they want to either be, luxury, like high-end investments or something like that. So that way we know kind of moving forward how we're going to if it's not going to be to the masses, we really want to dial in on it's this demographic, it's this age group, it's this amount of income, whatever the case may be. So that way, because that way it'll attract those buyers and not everybody. That way you're not bombarded with calls from people that you don't want. Um,
Yeah.
so that's typically how that goes. It's just dissecting what they want, and then also their personality a lot of ties into that. So getting to know them, building that rapport with them. I typically give them ideas of, even tying in their personal life. Like I've done that before. We've done that before with things that they like, hobbies that they like, because it makes them more human to people rather than just like buttoned up. It gives people that a connection.
So when it comes to building this brand, can anybody build any brand that they want? Does it have to be part of them? Is it an aspirational thing? Like how does that work?
Um, I mean, I guess anyone could build a brand, but the thing is, it just takes a lot of like, I don't know. It takes a lot of uh
Hmm.
time to build a brand for. I've been doing this for a long time, for 9 years. So you have to really be able to dissect what they want and give them different options of what they want to, it's your personality online. It's your online personality for what, you want people to see.
So then, like, it sounds like there's a component of that that has to be genuine to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it can't be, because people can see through it, they can see through online. If you're um, typically a very like reserved person and you try to be like, you know, silly or goofy online, that's typically not, if you see like influencers and stuff like that try to do that, you can typically see through that unless they're incredible actors. So you really try to, and it makes it more comfortable for them. You try to tie in their personality, like that's what I was saying, even tying in their hobbies and things like that, because it just they can talk about things that they like for hours, and so you want to have like 80% online, like when you're talking about social media, you want to have like 80% um, like professional, like advice and information, reviews, stuff like that, and like 20% more personable. So talking about yourself or your team, stuff, something that ties in that personal connection.
One of the best things that I did when I first opened my firm was not to call it Ostroff Law. It was Jordan Law. And it was great because people were so impressed that Jordan was answering the phone and Jordan was doing the consultation and Jordan was going to court for them. Only at some point I stopped doing those things, and then the name did not suit us. So we rebranded to Driven Law, a much more specific name for a PI firm, for the kind of mindset we want to take into cases, for the motivation we want everybody to have. That being said, it takes a lot of work to change the name of your firm, to rebrand, to go through all these things. So we put together a checklist. It's totally free. You can click the link below to download it if you too are on the journey towards rebranding to a much better firm name for your future.
When you talk to a client who, like, how often are you talking to a client who is like, hey, I'm boring and I have nothing fun about me?
Everyone has something fun about them.
Okay.
Even if they pull in like their their team, and we do content calendars to give them like examples. So um, let's say we're onboarding someone we're onboarding someone, so like we'll have a full month of March all ready to go with different ideas to run through, especially the first couple months. So the first couple months, we're still getting to know each other, still building that rapport. So we'll do like weekly meetings to touch base, get to know each other a little bit better so I can get to know them. So that way I can tailor like the content calendar into something specific for them. But everyone has some sort of element in their life, whether it's, some people want to share their personal life, like their family or hobbies or anything like that on there. It could be anything as much as like you like coffee or, something as little as that. You can do a lot with the content, just little tiny small facts about yourself, and no one's boring. If no one, you can always take it and turn pretty much anything into content. So, even if someone's like, I don't have any ideas, that's totally fine. That's my job. I just need to know a little bit more about you. So that way we can tie in, fun little aspects about your life. So that way it makes you more human to your potential clients.
Well, and so last week we had Charlie Mann on. We talked about like becoming a person who implements. And so I think that when you're creating this brand and the content calendar for them, that's something that they find fun. I feel like it's easier for them to then execute on it.
Yes. Yes. So if we have a content calendar, I've done it where I've even gone into their office and helped them shoot things just because like the first couple times it can be, I don't know, I hate being on camera. So I understand, but it takes them a couple times typically to get a little bit more comfortable. So I've even gone up there and we have like little outline scripts and stuff like that, where we spend a couple hours shooting videos. That way they get a better like feel for what it's like moving forward. And like I tell them, I'm like, you could do 100 takes. It doesn't matter. My team goes in and edits all of that. But it's just kind of just, doing it the first couple times and biting the bullet of getting like actually creating content. It, after that it gets easier.
Sure. I mean, I feel like the more you do anything, in theory,
Right.
hopefully the easier it gets.
Yes.
Um, I mean, so it sounds to me like the more they have a life, the easier, like the more they have personality, the easier it is to build this brand, the more things you have to put into this content calendar.
Exactly. So, having a life, it's if your whole entire, life is all about work, 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 you don't have these little like nuances and things, like little things about yourself that make you human, because, that's where people want to connect emotionally. Like people are emotional buyers, and even if you are higher priced, if people like you as a human being, even if they've never even met you, if they like you as a human being through social media or your website or anything like that, that will make them want to buy from you just because they like you as a person, even if you've never met them. That's where why we do like a lot of organic, like as far as content and SEO and stuff like that, because people get to know you as a human rather than just like putting up ads, because that's still very cold. So they're not saying that they don't work, they do sometimes, but that's what we focus on, is kind of like the emotional side of, because a lot of people, like I said, are emotional buyers.
Sure. And so like how do you tease this out of somebody? How do you get this things out of them to humanize them, to help people get that emotional connection with them?
Um, like I said, we just, it's just based on, how I get to know that person. And like the little things, like I can, we just start talking like as if we're friends, and I can make notes on, you came from, a different city, and you love surfing, and all the, you love taking your kids to Disneyland, like all these things. You just start talking and building a rapport with them, where then they don't have to do any work except, and we'll go, me and my team, um, go and create a content calendar with little outlines and stuff like that. And so when they're reading it, they're like, oh yeah, that fits me, um, I'm tying in things that we've talked about over the couple, over our consultation or our first couple meetings. So that way, and then if they're like, I really still do not really want to take videos, you know, then I'll go up there. And I've done that with multiple of my clients, go to their office and, help them shoot it and stuff like that. We make it a whole fun day, fun thing to do, or a fun couple of hours to do whatever time they are, can give me, to just batch some content. So that way they realize like, oh, it's not as painful as I thought it was going to be. Because I always tell them, I'll try to make this as painless as possible for you. My job is to make your job easier. But unfortunately, I still need you to shoot be in front of the camera, because this is your brand. This is, that's one thing I can't do for you, is, be the person for your videos, but I'll make it as painless as possible for you. So that's the only work they really need to do, is just try to follow the outlines and pick and choose which ones fit them best, of the information of the little outlines that I give them. And sometimes while we're shooting, they'll have ideas of like, oh, well, actually I can do this or that. It just gets like the creative juices flowing, because, a lot of times you're stuck in, lawyers, it's a lot of like facts. It's not a lot of like creatives, but when they get in there and we're like shooting videos and stuff like that, their creative juices start to flow, where they are like, oh, for next month or next week, can we do something like this? I think this is a good idea. So it's just trying to pull that out of them, as like the fun creative side, because, marketing can be fun. You're marketing for your business, you're making it better. It's something that you've put your heart and soul into. So that's what we try to do.
What do you see being the biggest issue for people not wanting to do video?
Mm, you can still grow, you can. It's just gonna take quite a bit longer. Because we've had some success with people that are like, I will not do video. Okay, so we'll do photos or we'll do carousels, or if they go on a vacation, I'm like, can you snap some photos so if you guys are comfortable. It also depends on what people are comfortable sharing, but sometimes people want to share, like if they went on vacation or something like that, or if they went to a conference or a work lunch or something like that, we try to incorporate photos. And we'll make like little videos out of that, because videos just perform better at the moment. Videos and carousels, so the ones that have like more than one photo, those perform the best. So it does work. Um, it just takes a little bit longer typically, because you can consume users can consume a lot more information in those 30 seconds just viewing it rather than reading it or swiping. And people also have a very short attention span with social media. So video, I've noticed, works the best. But if not, then there's a lot of other things we can do. There's even video ideas that we've done where they're like, well, I'll be on camera, but I don't want to talk. Okay, that's totally fine too. There's different things that we can, the easiest thing is if I can get them to talk and be on camera. But if they're uncomfortable doing that, there's a lot of other things we've done in the past that still show that human element. It just takes a little bit more creativity, which is also fine. Because my objective is just to make them feel as comfortable as possible, and to help grow their business. So it is possible. We have done that multiple times. So.
But like, what do you find to be the reason for them to not want to do video? Is it like they
It's
don't
just
like how they look, they don't like how they sound? Is it
Yeah, a lot of people hate how they sound. So many people hate how they sound. But it's uncomfortable. I hate being on video personally, and um,
you're doing such a great job here?
I can be on sales meetings all day long, but I just I hate being on video. And so I get it totally. And so I always tell them, I'm like, do what I say, not what I do, because I don't do it very often. But I'm not on video very often, but like coming from even myself, it's just uncomfortable. Once you start doing it more, it gets easier. I've seen it with a bunch of my clients. It gets easier, and then they'll start shooting videos themselves without me having to be there, and they'll send it to me, and it's great content. But it's also another thing of like, in today's world, like everyone strives to be perfect, like on social media, perfect look, your speech is perfect. And if people don't achieve perfect, they don't want to post it, but you don't understand. People would rather have imperfect content than perfect content. Actually, perfect content performs worse than imperfect content.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
It's showing the human side of you. No one's perfect. Everyone knows that. And so, when people have these, big productions and cameras and lights, and, it looks like a HD, video, it performs worse than just like, a ring light and your phone. Because the phone camera is perfectly fine quality. But when it's like a high production, the only time I do high production like that is if we're putting it on a website. Then you need to
Uh,
be high quality. But for social media, they want the little quirks and the little things. It doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be a, high quality, high res, like, you know, thing. I mean, a lot of really popular, like, a lot of really popular, even business owners, realtors that I can think of off the top of my head, just have like a little like series that they just do on their phone, in their car on their phone, and those pop off. It's because it just shows the human side of people, because so they perform better by, I think, almost like 20% they perform better.
wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty significant. So, but yeah, so that's why I try to tell them it doesn't have to be perfect. People like the imperfect. It shows that you're human and you didn't do 10,000 takes. Even though your imperfect one, you probably still did 10,000 takes. It's still, good enough, you know? So, but yeah, it doesn't, social media doesn't need to be perfect, and, it just doesn't. But not nice and polished, sure. You don't want it to look like you shot it off a flip phone, but so you want it to still be decent quality, but an iPhone is perfectly fine. And so, but yeah.
So how are you helping your clients like capture that video footage without you? You know, you mentioned like if they're on vacation, like are you messaging them before they
Yeah.
go? Are you reminding them?
Yeah, so that's the one thing about being like a boutique agency. Like a lot of big marketing companies, you'll meet with them once a month, and they typically don't even remember who you are half the time. And, changes you wanted done weren't necessarily done, and you never talk to the same person twice typically. Mine, I'm very like all my clients talk to me personally. They all have my cell phone number. I text them. I know their anniversary dates and their kids' birthdays and their dog's name. It's for me, a lot of my clients I've had for a really long time. Like my longest client I've had for seven years. So I've had for a really long time. And the thing is that uh, marketing and branding is the heart and soul of your business. So if you don't have someone who cares about your business as much as you do, I don't believe it's going to succeed because your wins are my wins because if I'm getting you wins, it makes me happy because I'm doing my job correctly. And so, but I know when they go on vacation, so I text them like, hey, just can you send me some photos or remember to snap some photos and I'll get them from you when you get back. You can email them, text them to me, carrier pigeon. I don't care how I get them, but content I need, to do my job. So, but yeah, I typically always know their schedules, so I always just make sure that they snap some photos. If they will mention that they're going to a networking event, so I'll put it in my calendar to set a reminder of like, hey, so and so is going to a networking event on the 1st, and so I'll message them like an hour before, like, can you take some photos, please? And so, yeah. My job is personal nagger. I've been told that. So I just, because you need content. You need to take pictures, and a lot of people have lost, don't take photos as often as they used to, unless you're like an influencer. But, and so, which I love the whole living in the moment thing. That's great. And I really, that's awesome. But you also need to take photos for just the human side of it. So.
My book, Love Your Law Firm, takes my journey and gives you the practical steps that I took, as well as some things that I did to avoid. Now in the second edition, though, we incorporate some stories from a bunch of my coaching clients, so you have a more well-rounded understanding of what it will take to run a great law firm. That being said, because I'm a lawyer and we wrote this for lawyers, I was told I have to provide a warning for the book. Reading this book could cause excessive delegation and might ultimately end up with you enjoying running your own law firm. I hope you'll check it out in the link below.
So how do we best balance that living in the moment with the content creation?
Um, so what I've told clients to do or it's you have to set time. Like if this is time with your family or your kid's birthday or something like that, take 3, 4 photos. That's what I told one of my clients. I'm like, can you just when everything dies down, can you take like 2 or 3 photos and then put your phone away? And that's it. That's all I need. I just need a couple photos that takes you. All I ask is for 30 seconds of your time, and you can put your phone down until, the next morning or you're unwinding for the night and you can text them to me. I don't care. But you don't need to be on your phone 24/7. Like, that's why you hired me. You don't need to be checking your Instagram. Some of my clients are like, they have the login, but they don't even have it on their phone because they're like social media. They don't want to be on it, but they want their business to be on it. So I'm like, you don't need to be on social media. I just need you to take some photos and some content, whatever I like request pretty much, because typically have an idea and I'll tell them like, if you can take a photo for XYZ, I have an idea because of this or for this. And so I need that content. And so, snapping a photo takes just a couple minutes. They don't have to edit it. They don't have to do anything with it. I just need it to be sent my way. So the work-life balance, is typically pretty easy for my clients when it comes to marketing, because a lot of them don't care to have access to any of the social media. And I think that's a lot of time. What eats a lot of people's time is social media and then managing their website and they don't typically touch either one of those at all, which adds a lot of additional time.
So, is there specific content that you see performing well from this like behind the scenes life type stuff, or is it just anything?
Not necessarily anything, like there has to be like a strategy behind it, but a lot of times what I've seen that works the best is like getting to know the team. That those always work really, really well. I've seen just it gets a lot of engagement. People love that, like the behind the scenes team, like a little like even if everyone just has a picture and you just write a little something of like, you know, a little something about each person, then those also perform well because again, it's showing your team, it's showing like it's creating an emotional connection for people because when they call and so and so answers the phone, it's the receptionist. They're like, "Oh yeah, I saw that person on Instagram when I was swiping the other day," or whatever the case may be. So those create a lot of engagement, but nothing specific because every content like strategy, every content, all the content pillars are specific to each individual business. But team ones typically like people like those. And anything to do with dogs and children, people like those too. But that's just like standard Instagram social media. Those always perform well, but there isn't like one thing I can say that just performs well for everyone. Like if you do this, you're gonna, you know, get a bunch of views and a bunch of follows. I no, it doesn't, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. If it did, it'd make my job easier, but no, a lot of it is testing and knowing what your audience is gravitating towards.
So, in the almost 10 years you've been doing this, what have you seen to be the biggest change in social media, marketing, websites?
Um, I think just social media as a whole, a lot of time, that's probably the biggest change because 10 years ago, social media for businesses wasn't a really big thing. That and also Google profile. So reviews also on Google. It used to be Google My Business, but now it's Google profile, Google Business profile. Both of those are the biggest changes because now reviews are everything, and not only reviews, but responding to reviews with SEO, like optimized responses. So you don't want to, if someone writes you a review, you don't want to just say, thank you for your 5-star review. You want to really go in depth, use your location. So if you're in San Antonio, use like, thank you for choosing so and so law firm in San Antonio for go in depth as you possibly can as far as like for retirement plan or whatever the case may be. So that way it picks up those keywords, this law firm in this city for this service. That is, though you want to make sure you optimize those responses, not just say like, thanks, because it's great to respond, but you want to utilize those responses as best you can.
Smart. That makes total sense.
Mhm.
It cracks me up. Like I'll be looking at restaurant reviews on Yelp, and then like the owner will only respond to certain reviews, and it's just like blasting the customer. And I'm like, why do I want to go there? What like who do you think this is
Nope.
helping?
Nope. And so yeah, the more reviews you can
Hmm.
get, the better. Um, and also always respond to the negative reviews, but don't blast them. But respond to the negative. You want to respond to every single review, whether even if it's just a blank like star. Let's say it's just like a, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star, and there's nothing written underneath it. You still want to take that opportunity and optimize it to the best of your ability, even the bad ones. So. Um, and having a couple of bad ones, contrary to what people believe, is still good because a lot of times, if you have hundreds or thousands of just 4 to 5 star reviews, people will automatically think, "Oh, you just paid for those or something like that," which is
Uh,
never pay for Google reviews. Please,
yeah.
if you do it, you can get flagged. It's so bad. Yeah, it's so bad. But it's really good to have a couple. If you have a couple of bad reviews, that is okay. It makes you look human because not everyone is going to make everyone happy. it's just not possible. At some point, you're going to have someone who's not happy with you, even if you do everything correctly, just because that's just the way things work. So, but asking for reviews, optimizing those reviews, that's probably my biggest piece of advice, um, for something that like costs no money. And that's like, and for someone who's local, that is the biggest piece of advice is to get Google reviews and respond to them within 48 hours, 24 hours, but 48 hours really. So,
Makes sense.
yeah.
What do you see like AI? Like I find people making AI videos of them of sort of themselves. I don't know how to frame that because it's not them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean, but what are my thoughts on AI?
Yeah, like where do you see this going with social media, with the easy opportunity for us to AI ourselves to create crazy videos? Like how does that
Yeah,
impact?
I think AI can be utilized as a tool. I think it can be a good tool, but a lot of AI videos I see where people are utilizing them are incredibly cheesy. Where, the thing is, and if that's what you're going for, then that's fine. But for me, for my business, we do a lot of like, lawyers and professionals and stuff like that, not like uh, right now, AI videos to me, a lot of them look just very goofy and silly. And we try to have that human element of it where you don't look perfect, but you also don't want to come off as being goofy or silly when someone is spending so much money especially for like a lawyer or service or something like that. There's certain lines you don't want to cross of like, you want to show the human element of you. There's a certain line you don't really want to cross. So without being like, cheapening your brand because I feel like AI right now, it'll get better. I'm sure. Like I know it'll get better just over the past like year and stuff like that. It's made leaps and bounds. So I think that'll be good to utilize later on. But for right now, I don't think the quality is quite there yet for like using videos for AI.
Can
Yeah.
you speak more? You mentioned like there's a line you don't want to cross to be cheesy. Like talk to me more about that.
Um, so I don't, that's a good example. Uh, I can't think of a good example to necessarily use, but like I've seen certain ones. So like they have like the national holidays, like National Coffee Day, National Donut Day, National Taco. There are some people who take that to the extreme. So there's a national holiday pretty much every single day, and
For everything.
it's for everything. It's wild. So if you want to tie in something, so like personally, I love coffee. So I'll always highlight National Coffee Day. Cool. That's one time a year. That's something, that you love. That's something personal to you. That ties in the human element. But if someone takes it to the top and like every single week is a National Taco Day, National Donut Day, National Baseball Day, National Handshake Day, that's absurd to me. That's where it crosses the line of being very, very cheesy, and no longer professional, no longer like a luxury, brand. And that's kind of what we focus on is more like luxury, high-end professionals. So if you want like to pick out one or two per year that, really that you love, then that's cool. I'm happy to do that. And that to me again shows the human element. But if you want to like do one every week, that gets that's where it crosses the line for me. That's the only example I can really think of right now. But I've had
Yeah,
clients before that have been like, "How about this?" I'm like, "Well, if you want to." I always say it's your business, it's your brand. I will do whatever you tell me to do, but I'm also going to tell you my opinion. So that way you can never come back and say like, Victoria, why didn't you tell me this? This was a terrible idea. Like I'm going to tell you like I don't think that's the best idea for your brand or, because of XYZ, but if you want to do it, you know, I'm just here to make sure you make an educated decision. That's all, for marketing. That's all. My job. That's my job is just to do that. So, um,
makes total sense.
yep.
So how do you balance doing some of those type of things but not doing too much of those type of things?
Like I said before, like that's about like 80 to 60% you want it to be, um, 60 to 80% you want to be professional, and that other percentage you want to be more personal or just about your team. So, let's do like this 60-40 rule. So 40% you want it to be educational, different tips, and things of that sort. Things about your services, again, reviews, those are all great things to highlight that are more on the professional side. And then that other 40%, your team, your hobbies, your family, if you want to add that in. We kind of work together to figure out what those like pillars are. So, for, the information that you're going to put out. So 60-40 or 70-30, something like that. 80-20 are all like decent rules where you don't go overboard. It just kind of depends on how much, also depends on how much effort they want to put into shooting these videos and stuff like that. Typically, they want like 80-20. So every, you know, 10 videos, they want two that they have to like do and put in, effort and be on screen and stuff like that. And the other ones will do carousels or something like that about, tips, tricks, reviews, stuff like that.
168 hours. That's what all of us have every week. It's interesting to me how many times I talk to firm owners who are struggling to do more, to make more marketing efforts, have more lunches, handle more cases, but ultimately none of us are living a shorter day where we can just create more time. So how do we do that as a business? We can scale up time by hiring more people. We finally created an awesome system, our complete hiring process. We're going to share with you how to incorporate AI and other technology into the hiring process to make sure that you have the best chance to hire the right person. So if that's something you struggle with, click the link below, check out our complete hiring process, and let's get your law firm back on track.
How do you know that this is working? Like, is it the numbers? Is it leads coming in from social media? Like, what's the proof of concept?
So the social proof is, so we track you get a report monthly. So, and we track month over month, but then we really sit down and track quarter. And then at the end of the year, we also track from, January to January, how are we doing? It also shows in, revenue, uh, has your revenue gone up? And then also, conversion. So we'll see that, 100,000 people have, been on the website as opposed to, this month, as opposed to, 80,000 this time last year. And, um, you know, an X number have called, this much percentage has called from the website. So we can track all of that as to see the metrics and to see what's growing. So like for example, one of my clients, I've been with them for a year and a half. From We did our annual review 2 weeks ago, I guess. And this year over last year, their conversions, so that means how many times people either called or gotten directions to their office or something like that, has increased by 126% or 127%. That's a huge growth. So that way I'm able to show like the money you're paying me is working, because this is when you had a different marketing company or you didn't have anything, and we've grown 127 or 126% over the past year, which is substantial. And it's not even just people who have seen it, but the people who've actually clicked on it. So that means you've actually gotten a lead, you've actually gotten a phone call or an email or directions to the office. One of those three are like actual conversions that we really track. So key performance metrics, that's what we track. But you get one every single month to see. We also don't do, one thing that stands out is that we only have a 30-day cancellation policy. We don't lock you in for 6 to 12 months, because if you're not happy, then I'm not happy. And I want to have clients that are happy. So if for some reason someone's not happy with me, they're free to go. at any time. I tell them that you're not going to get result with marketing, you're not going to get results in 10, 12 days, even a month. It's like if you can stick with me for 3 months, then we can really dig deep into uh, how much I've helped, how much my team's helped, and to see if it's worth, because I see if we're worth keeping on, because I want to make sure you have a good, ROI, and that we get along and that we work well together. Because I talk with my clients, uh, I talk with all my clients at least weekly minimum. So, that's, we always make sure that you're making a good investment, because I never want you to, again, I never want to have unhappy clients. So I'd rather them show that they're getting a return on their investment.
So as we get towards the end, anything that we haven't covered that we need to talk about when it comes to this modern, profitable, credible brand?
Mm, um, uh, just another like piece of advice from things that I've seen from a lot of different lawyers, just websites across the board, just making sure that they have, um, you know, fast loading times, things like that. All that stuff comes into play for, you know, again, people have a attention span of a gnat nowadays. So if the website is not loading like within seconds, people are on to the next one. So making sure that it's also mobile optimized, stuff like that. I would do a good website audit at a bare minimum, just to see where you guys can they can improve, because that's one thing I've seen as a huge pain point for lawyers that I've worked with and other lawyers that I haven't worked with, just some that I've come across, contact with, that's typically a huge pain point for a lot of them, is their websites. So, that's like the only other thing that I can think of, that's just like easy, quick advice to just, where you can work, uh smarter, not harder, you know. So, but that's about it. Any other questions?
Cool. So sorry.
No.
What would be your biggest takeaway from this? Like if somebody only implements one piece of advice, what would be the most important thing that they can do right now to build a better brand?
Oh, best thing to do, if I just had to narrow it down to one, it would be what I said before, is respond to your Google reviews. That would be my biggest piece of advice, because Google reviews, people will take Google reviews that over a friend's recommendation. So if a friend recommends this place and they have terrible Google reviews, they'll like cross out the friend's recommendation and just focus on the Google reviews, which is crazy. About 80% of people will do that. It's the Google reviews are more important than a friend's recommendation, which is wild. But that would be what I recommend the most, because you can optimize with SEO. It's just showing your personality a little bit when you respond to them, and just it just pushes you up on the Google Maps board even more. So that's one of the three key factors for Google, is your Google reviews, the amount you have, how you respond, the time you respond as well. So within 24 hours is my recommendation, but no more than 48. So that would be my biggest takeaway. If they want to just do one thing that would improve substantially, is that.
Wonderful.
So
Makes a ton of sense. And I never thought about it from the standpoint of like SEOing your response, but it
yeah.
makes a ton of
Hmm.
sense.
Yep.
So, for anybody who is smart enough to want to hear more of what you have to say, reach out to you for some help with their marketing, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Either they can text me or email me, whatever they prefer.
So, for anybody who is listening to this, if you give them the phone number or emails.
So it's 210-853-9592. And my email is hello at brooddigitally.com. effortless.com.
Awesome. Victoria, thank you for being with us today. Thank you to everybody who watched and listened. We'll see you back here next week for our next episode. In the meantime, respond to those Google reviews.
Thank you. Bye-bye.